Commander Hugh McDonnell, American 1st Infantry Division. On the planet Earth in the Sol system, in the year 2089, humans made first contact. It ended our hopeful view of the stars, and now we're waiting for the invasion. The current year is 2102, and their ship's just past Pluto. Luna has been colonized, if that's even the right word. Buried missile silos and laser batteries dot the moon, waiting just below the surface. Dozens of orbiting satellites bearing dozens of nukes each wait for their moment, quietly staying in the moon's shadow so they don't see it coming. The fleet's been prepared, a whole 7 ships strong. Even down on Earth we know it won't be enough. They're waiting in the shadow of Phobos and Mars, just itching to hit first. The Mars colony's been stripped of all life in the process. The trillionaire tax haven just a lifeless rock again. At least that made me chuckle. Planet-side, we entered a new age of mass production. We hammered away and built tanks by the tens of thousands. Conscription of every nation's young men and women became an absolute mandate, for the survival of everyone, and mass mobilization drills became the new normal. I practiced anti-tank operations with Guatemalan drone operators. I coordinated mock river crossings with Chinese commandos. I had cigarettes with Estonian conscripts during the Ukrainian joint exercises. I drove German tanks across the Antarctic proving grounds, where we would make our last stand if the invasion didn't go our way. But through it all, we didn't think we were ready. None of us did. And when the Kuiper Belt defense ring activated, we huddled around our TVs and waited for them to smack our nukes out of the sky. Imagine our collective shock when their fleet didn't even react until after the detonations. Supreme Commander Svask. I gripped the railing for dear life as titanic explosions erupted throughout the flotilla. Hellish light shone through the windows, and I demanded to know. What happened? Explosions, sir. 42.7 on the Gravnik scale. I just couldn't believe that. Perhaps the species had passed the theoretical limit of 10, but to pass 40? It simply couldn't have been a weapon. It must have been some natural disaster, and one that we had the misfortune of discovering. Mere weeks before a campaign, no less. I growled my complaint, intent to show annoyance rather than fear. Damage report, I shouted. Calculating. 34 ships are missing. Define missing. They just aren't there anymore. 107 ships report thermal damage, flash sensors, and every shuttle off board has been lost. No sooner had he finished speaking, the radiation alarm thundered out. I ordered the flotilla to move forward and hoped to avoid any more of these spatial disturbances. Send warnings to the second wave, spatial anomalies on the Graven system's outer core. Send the beacon and get us out of this radiation field. Yes, my lord. I settled back into my throne already weary, and contemplating that black omen. 700 million proper soldiers and serfs had been raised for this glorious mission, I thought. What sort of awful mood must the gods be in to take so many of them from us before the battle even began? I couldn't even imagine the cost that our war would bring, not yet anyway. Burning ahead with feverish pace, we cleared the radfields easily enough. We tended to the wounded, though radiation sickness killed any that it touched over the coming days. A great many sensor arrays were burned out from the disastrous phenomenon, and rammer missile pods began to malfunction during the final weapons tests before passing the 4th planet. But when we did pass the Red World by, my officer spoke up. We've got electronic signatures near one of the moons, definitely artificial. Deploy the Vanguard to challenge them. Should they surrender, our work on the 3rd planet will be that much easier. Confirmed, my lord. I was rather excited to learn about these humans. They'd likely not surrender, giving us plenty of opportunity to meet our new serfs before the campaign proper. Though void warfare could be somewhat more destructive than intended, but we'd learn all the more of their technology if they decided to fight. And I could certainly... The Vanguard exploded. The dozen ships sent out were erased in that blinding fire, burned clean into my retinas. I came at once to the stark realization. Knowing in an instant that the whole flotilla was in danger, I sprang into a flurry of action. All ships, fire at will. Arm and fire rammer missiles at the very earliest. Navigator, keep pushing us towards the 3rd planet. Comms, tell everyone to stay in formation. Shocked silence answered back, and I shouted, Understood? Yes, my lord, their voices rang back. Captain Nathaniel Sanderson, UN Command Cruiser, USS Theodore Roosevelt. I couldn't believe it. How could I? We shot a volley of nuclear torpedoes into their ranks, hardly enough to get through even our own point defense guns, but each one hit true. I almost thought I was dreaming when their outriders went up in smoke, but when the sensors showed them shooting back, I gave the order. All interceptors and interdictors are cleared to fire. All ships, point defense formation. Start cooking off another volley. Looking into my command deck, I pointed. Helmsman, what's their course? Unchanged, sir, but they're speeding up. Their slow missiles were picked clean out of the way. Interceptor missiles slammed true again and again. We hadn't even needed to fire off our deck guns yet, and their whole fleet passing us by without really giving us a fight. I gave the order I knew we wouldn't walk away from. All ships, close in on me. Lay in a pursuit course. The crew shifted their eyes to me, fearful looks flashing up. We're chasing them down, sir? Right back to Earth if we have to. The helmsman nodded. The fear was gone. We knew our duty, and it wasn't done yet. Hey everybody, thanks for watching. Everything I used is in the description below. If there's a story you'd like to hear narrated, let me know and I'll reach out to the author and see if we can make that happen. Thanks again. It's a scary world out there, but remember to be brave and look up, to seek the stars.